Welcome to issue number 17. Issue number 17 is threat of substitutes. What comes to your mind when I say threat of substitutes? Michael Porter 5 force theory, which is very important. So definitely you might require to use 5 force theory in the exam when this is tested, and you will get marks for that clearly under technical. But let's see now. What do you mean by threats? According to the case study, there are two main threats. What are the two main threats? Number one, from the Quartz Watch. Number two, from what? The smartwatch. That's correct. So number one, Quartz Watch. Let's look at this in detail. The quartz movement was introduced by Japanese company Seiko in 1969. That means it was a revolutionized concept where you have a battery inside the watch. Earlier, it was a clockwork with a mechanical movement with so many watch parts, like a big mechanical system. It's like a bicycle. It's like a bicycle inside the watch. So many things, so many parts are working towards. You would have seen big, large clocks, grandfather clocks and clock towers with so many mechanical parts. Right. So now let's look at the Quartz Watch, which is a battery, which is an electronic circuit like your calculator, like your mobile phone, like the computer, like any device now, which is very simple. Why? Easy to manufacture. Now mechanical watches, if you can manufacture 100 per day, quartz you can manufacture 10,000 per day. Just like a robot, just goes like so. It's like manufacturing soap. It just moves on. Standard size, standard circuit. So everybody predicted in 1970 that the clockwork watches and the Switzerland dominance is over, and they thought the Swiss watch industry is dead. Well, sadly, it didn't happen. Of course, there was an initial hit, definitely. But then, the issue with the Quartz Watch is that what? It's not very expensive, it's flexible, easy to design and volume based. So those characteristics could not be matched with the clockwork mechanical Swiss craftsmanship. What's that? That is high-end, using materials such as gold, silver, platinum, palladium and gems, sometimes diamonds. So that is a different end. So that is why the quartz revolution in 1970 could not beat or could not move forward passing the mechanical movement. However, quartz still creates a threat. The other issue with the quartz watch is not that durable. Maximum 10-20 years. Those are the very good exceptional quality. Maximum 5 to 10 years is a normal quartz watch. Why? Because the circuit, after some time the circuit dies. And also the watch is not made from precious material. Sometimes plastic, sometimes combination of steel. It's not the best in the world. So because of that, the quartz market stops at a particular point. However, now let's look at the threat caused by quartz. Number one, young people like it. It's easy to use. As I said in an earlier video, it's a dress watch. Based on your clothing color, you will have a quartz watch. Example is Rado. Rado is a great watch, which is mainly a dress watch, mainly quartz. They are market leader in that. Omega is a good wristwatch, which has mechanical and quartz. But if you look at Tissot, Rado, Blank Pen, all these watches mainly are dress watches. Longines, they are dress watches. So they are nice, beautiful and slim. Young people like it. Ladies like it. So this is why it's a threat. It's not a threat at the moment, but for the future, because the young generation will like these slim, beautiful models which fits with the clothing. I mean, for basketball you can wear one watch, for swimming another one, for a party another one, then with friends you can wear another one. It's not very expensive. and you can change the design. So what is the threat then for steel cast? The threat is very simple. Number one, it's very flexible, medium low price, young people like it, easy to manufacture, easy to maintain, product life cycle is shorter, lower profit but very high volume, so that you get better consistent cash flow. So we need to keep an eye on this threat, because if others move into quartz, or if there's a quartz revolution again, and if young people like quartz, then the danger is in the long term you will lose your market share. Right, that is the quartz, the threat. Then let's look at the next threat, which is much more dangerous than quartz. That's a smartwatch. Because quartz revolution we saw, and we know what the quartz watch can do. It can give flexibility, that's all. But if you look at the smartwatch, it's not a watch actually. What is it then if it's not a watch? It's not a watch. It's a way of life. Like iWatch, iPhone, iMac. This is the future. It's a passion. It's a fashion. It's a trend. And it's a personal statement. People love these new gadgets, and young people especially, even the young professionals love this, because if everybody in the office has iPhone 8, you can't operate with a mediocre phone. You need to have iPhone 8. And all the stories and the pictures and the selfies, this is the new world order. And for that, there's a nice friend who will fit in. Who is that? The smartwatch. iWatch or Samsung. It fits nicely to this wonderful new mechanism with Facebook, the information and the world. So this is not a watch. That's why it's a threat. Quartz was a watch, not as high quality as the clock movement, so we knew where quartz is. But here, the smartwatch will not compete directly with the mechanical clockwork. It will never compete. It is just a form competition, just a new world where people are blown away with the charisma in the new models. Look at the new features of these smartwatches. Checks your pulse rate, checks how many minutes you walked, how many steps you took, how many calories were burnt, what is your blood pressure, what is your stress level, what is the nature of exercise you need, did you cover the exercise for the day, and he talks with his friends. Who are the friends? The iPhone, the tablet, the laptop, the PC, the car. Talks with the car. Brilliant. So that's why I said it's not about direct competition. It's about the form. You never know where it's coming from, and that's why it's dangerous. We need to take a look at it seriously. What is the other issue? Well, I'm an older person now. When we were young, when we pass an exam in school, when we are about the 10th grade, if you pass well, we get a wristwatch. That was the standard. Wow, you get a watch or you get a good pen. That is the standard. And until that time, some people never had a watch. It was the standard achievement purchase. But what's with the new generation now? Well, new generation do not have that value. Why? Because every young person has a mobile phone. Obviously, they get a phone well before their 10th grade at a young age. So what's the problem? This is the problem. Each phone has the time and a clock. So they're used to putting it in the pocket. Okay, now this is the time. I need to catch the bus. So that's the problem. What's the problem? You're used to the time and you're not used to a watch, and you don't have a need for a watch. When we were young, we had no phones. So we had a need for the watch, and it was important. But now the young generation, the millennials, are born and they grew up without a watch because their phone had the time. And these people look at the phone all the time. They take selfie, they have chat, they have Facebook, they have Messenger, they have Twitter, they have everything in the world on it. That means they look at it all the time. Meaning, There's no need for a watch. That's a danger for steel cast. That's a danger. What's the danger? In the future, the people will not associate with a watch because it's not part of their value system. It's not in their value chain. And they have all the other friends and devices connected with the smart watch, to smartphone, to smart tablet, smart TV, smart car, smart life. And steel cars will have a dull, boring, rugged, standard, material-driven wristwatch which may not be cool for the young generation. And that's why I consider this as a major threat to the company and as a major threat to the future of the organization. Once the die-hard buyers of the luxury watch, once the people who really value that are over, and when the new generation take over, the new generation has already solved the problem of time. Actually, time is not a problem for the new generation. It is the association with everything which leads to the smart life. Even the umbrella these days is smart. It has things. Levi's introduced a jacket which is smart now. So you can cycle wearing a smart jacket. You just rub the hand and it gives all the messages you require through your jacket to the computer, to your smartphone, to your smartwatch, and Google Smart Specs will transform everything. Now you see, it's not about a watch, it's not about time, it's not about the person, it's about life. So now steel cast has to compete with general smart life. Not easy. Never easy. That's why I consider this as a significant threat for steel cast, because we have beautiful, luxury, jewelry-driven, expensive timepieces. Young people will encourage to look at it. They will respect your watch, but it will be very difficult for them to buy that and use it with their existing value system of smart life. Even though they have money, it might not have a chance in their lifestyle with their friends and other gadgets. So please remember, smart watch creates a higher threat than the Quartz watch, because it's not about a watch. Quartz we beat. We can beat the Quartz watch. We have already done, because the mechanical clock movement is better and you have a competitive advantage than Quartz. But smartwatch we cannot beat. They don't compete with us. It's a different frequency. We need to now get into their life. We can't beat them. We need to get into their life, and within their life we need to show you're important. Here's an image for you. Here's performance. You're a leader now in your community. You need to show that, which is important. That's what I said. Michael Porter 5 forces are crucial for this exercise. Now let's see what are the future options we have. One option is obviously invest in a smartwatch. Can we do that? Of course we can. We need to look at the positives and negatives, the cash flow, return on investment, and look at investing in that. But not in our factory. The examiner will give you an option. Either buy a factory, buy a manufacturing facility, or acquire an existing smart watch manufacturer and rebrand it, maybe connect with that. Because the modern smart watches come with expensive jewelry, which comes with expensive material. Some even have gold material. So that means we can easily pitch into that market in that perspective. Maybe we can develop a joint venture with another company like Smart Car. What is Smart Car? That is with Mercedes and Swatch Industries. Smart Car is that. Okay, they looked at it. Swatch, Mercedes, Art. That is how the word smart came in. Or it smart came in. Swatch, Mercedes, Art. Mercedes gave the car technology. Swatch, company you know in wristwatches, They are in Switzerland. Okay, so they provided the electronic know-how, and that's how the smart car came in. So maybe we need a joint venture. Again, the examiner will ask you to look at the advantage, the limitations, the evaluation, why our core values developed from 1910 based on our principle of leadership and ethics may be different from the core values of a smart watch manufacturer. We need to look at these principles and the fundamental guidelines in that. So joint venture is possible. Strategic alliance is another possibility. Looking at a strategic alliance with another company, maybe in another country. Outsourcing is another option. If you are looking at a smart watch or a Quartz watch, outsourcing is another possibility. Again, the examiner would like you to look at clearly which strategies are effective, which are not effective. If you are looking at outsourcing, which is important. And also another area in the future to look at is segmentation. As I told you earlier, mechanical clockwork will continue. There's no doubt about that. It will continue, but in a different segment, a niche market. It's a niche market. So it's no harm looking at other segmented markets. You can segment based on age, based on fashion, based on occupation, based on country, based on values, based on gender. I mean, ladies' watches are handy in terms of smart watches, the colors and the features to match the dress, which is important. So in the future, all what I'm saying is, we have done successfully in the past, but we have not reached the modern life. Young people will value our watch, but what's the danger? Get into their value system. It's not easy. It's like me sitting with teenagers. Can you imagine myself? A senior person, knowledgeable person, qualified person, experienced person, seated with young teenagers who don't have those values. What's the problem? If I'm going to get to sit with them, and if I want them to accept me, I need to adjust. Yeah, they might respect me as a senior person, as a professional, but they might not consider me as a friend. That's the problem for steel cast. We need to be a friend first. So I need to get into that young circle first. Then tell them the importance of experience, importance of education. Similarly, for the wristwatch, steel cast, it's important first to get into the young smart life. Respect smart values. Understand what the future generation want. Then inculcate leadership, sports, adventure, ruggedness, gold, jewelry, enrichment, performance, motivation. Then inculcate those values and tell that young person, look here, young chap, you're doing very well. You're a smart guy, but you can now move forward, shift to the next level and become a leader in your young generation. And that's our mission. Leaders wear our watch with pride. So we need to invest in that. Maybe looking at new options, maybe investments, joint ventures, acquisition, recruiting new staff. Right. Now let's see how the examiner will test this. Well, clearly the examiner can show you a revenue mix. A revenue mix and show our main product, brawn, might reduce in sales. Because you see our share price clearly dropped for the last 4 years and started picking up again in 2017 because our revenue started to grow. What's our revenue growth? Very good. 17.6% compared with the last year. So that's a very high, significant growth. So based on that, our share price is picking up. Maybe short term. We don't know that. Maybe one emerging market had high disposable income and they purchased watches this year. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe one global event like Olympic might be enough to create that sale, but it might not be sustainable. So that's why it is important to look at this. So the examiner can give you what? A revenue breakdown where allowing you to look at the option and think, maybe we need a new product, maybe we need a new investment, maybe we need a modern cash flow. Then the examiner might ask you how to reach a middle price segment. What's our price of a wristwatch? 26,000 is the highest, 2,000 is the lowest. Maybe around 10,000 dollars. Quartz watch may be handy, or a smartwatch may be handy. Maybe rebranding, but we can target that market, young professional market, young athletes, models, dancers, performers, TV personalities, lawyers, accountants, actors. A new breed of successful people might come in, but they might not have the values from 1910 what we built over the years. As I told many times, this young generation is the future, and someday the steel cast watches may not be purchased by the people because there's a new market. They get new information from Facebook and from Twitter. They like that, and they like their watch to give them all the information. Sadly, the mechanical clock movement cannot provide that information. So that is the disadvantage we have in capturing this market. Another area examiner will look at is cost reduction. Because I told you I'm looking at threat of substitutes. So possibly if there's another luxury watch manufacturer who has a dramatic cost reduction due to outsourcing and due to looking at Quartz watches and reaching the same segment, we will lose our market share. So we can look at cost reduction as a measure. Examiner will give you options on outsourcing, manufacturing overseas, having an alternative plant, looking at all these segments. So threat of substitutes can come from anywhere, but from the case study we know it is from the Quartz watch and from the smartwatch. And don't be surprised if you see in the unseen a sudden surprise of a new competitor, maybe a smart mechanical watch with a mechanical movement with smart features. Be prepared for that. So all what I'm saying here in the exam under this area is be flexible, be prepared to change, look at options and look at new market segments, be prepared to face threat of substitutes. 5-force theory, Michael Porter, Mandela matrix. The key players now may have less importance, and a minimal effort player like a particular supplier who mainly supplies for smartwatches can become a crucial key player in the future. And also Ansoff matrix. Why? We can look at diversification by looking at penetration at the same time. What is penetration? Existing product, existing market. That's our steel cast mechanical movement. Focus on that, penetrate on that, that's not a problem. But then look at new markets, look at new models, and also look at diversification, which is very, very important. Don't forget, this is 2017, this is not 1910. And don't forget, we did not invent a new model after 1970. That means for the last 50 years, we do not have a new model and a new offer. That means the millennials now who are young, who are age 20 plus, who have a disposable income, has not seen a new model. Now that is dangerous because the new generation of people won't change always. You like to share things, not like those days where you buy the watch, you wear it, it's you and the watch, and you have achieved success in motor racing, you have a watch, that's it. No, that's not it. The young generation is different. They share their experience, they discuss with their friends. So if a young person buys a smartwatch, everybody will know about that watch. So that is the situation. So finally, it's very important in the exam to understand threat of substitutes. It can come in many ways. Be prepared for that. and don't forget to use Michael Porter 5 force theory. Thank you.